Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Teammates Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Lensander. Today we have the pleasure of talking to former Washington Husky and professional overseas basketball player Amber Melgoza. She takes us through her journey of growing up into the sport and growing to love it, becoming a star high school basketball player, her journey through college, which eventually leads to playing professionally overseas. She's also the first woman that I get to have on the Teammates Podcast, and hopefully many more. Obviously, I've never been her teammate, but I've known her for a long time. She is an amazing person and puts in a ton of work to be where she's at today. So hopefully you guys can all get something from this. Sit back and enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Teammates Podcast. We are now on episode 6. Today, we have the pleasure of talking to former Washington Husky women's basketball player, a very good friend of mine for a long time, Amber Melgoza. Amber, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much, Nick, for having me on here. I'm really excited.
Yeah, exciting. So let's learn a little bit about Amber for those that don't know you. Give us a little background, kind of like your start into the sports realm. I know you did a little BMX and a lot of different things growing up. So give us a little background.
Yeah, born and raised in Santa Barbara, California, paradise, as some people will call it, most of us. I guess my first real sport was BMX. I did that up at Elings Park for, I think I started around like 3 years old, all the way up to about 7 years old. I ended with being number 1 in the nation, winning it all in Kentucky. So that was really cool. And then I started playing some club soccer at Santa Barbara Soccer Club for a good amount of time. And then I was doing a little bit of basketball at Page Center. And I think eventually, as time went on, I started to fall in love with the sport. And I just continued to work on it every single day. And then club basketball started. I started with the Santa Barbara Blazers. They're no longer a club here in Santa Barbara. And then I moved down to Ventura, 805. They're still going. It's been with George Albanez, just a local coach. And then as time went on again, I moved up to go down to LA with Team Tarasi. It's a Nike EYBL team. So that really got me to be on like a bigger platform. So I was able to play against, top recruits in the nation out of high school. I was performing in front of 20, 25 college coaches each game, traveling around the U.S. and stuff. So that was really cool. And then I was, lucky enough to be able to get recruited by University of Washington, and I played there for 4 years.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good journey. So let's start kind of in the middle there. So once you start, I mean, you were very successful at BMX, which is a cool sport. You don't necessarily associate with like a lot of like female BMXers like typically, but I mean you were great at it, obviously. And so when did it switch to like the basketball is like my thing? Like you really started to fall in love with basketball, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, BMXing was originally I started motocross.
Okay.
So yeah. I did a little bit of both. Our family friends, I had like my friends that were kind of older and they're really into motocross and riding just bikes in general. And I think at the age when I was, 4 or 5, I was just fearless. And so I was just like, what can I do to just get all this energy out? I think my parents were just like, she's doing everything, but I think we need a little bit more into her. And so I don't know, I was just a daredevil, and I would say like I was a little bit of a tomboy. So like I liked hanging out with everybody, the guys. I liked being in the dirt. I wasn't like afraid of anything like that. And so I think, I just started to really get into that, but it's a lot of traveling. And I think that was really hard for me at, being a 7-year-old and traveling, across the states and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, and then, the Page Center, I just loved the game. Yeah. And I realized I was getting a lot of buckets. I was scoring a lot, and I just realized like I could, do something with this. And so I just really focused on that. And I think, one of the biggest things that I did at like the young age, I would always challenge myself to play against people that were older than me. And I wasn't like afraid to jump into when I was in like 4th grade to play with 7th grader, 8th graders, because I knew that I was going to get myself better. Or play with guys, like on outdoor courts, playing outside in the neighborhood. And then once I realized I could compete with them, I was like, all right, I think I could do something with this.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I mean, playing with people older than you, playing with guys, I mean, obviously that's something that you continue to do along your journey. So you played basketball and then you went to high school at Santa Barbara High School.
Santa Barbara High School.
And she was a very successful high school basketball player. They won state your sophomore year, I believe.
We won CIF my sophomore year. We went to state.
Yeah, you went to state. You won CIF your sophomore year. That was kind of your big success year. And your big breakthrough year, I would say.
Yes.
You know, she was putting up 30, 40 points like every game. And I think you had a couple like really high scoring games, like 50, like 60.
50 was 50, my highest.
50, yeah.
Average, I think, around like 34 points
a
game.
Yeah, 35 or something. It was nuts.
Back in the day.
So that was kind of like, that was her breakthrough year in high school.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you were still young at the time and kind of developing and molding your way into the basketball scene.
Yeah.
So how did that propel you, your best years, that state, the year you went to state and won CIF, propel you to a future in basketball?
Yeah. I think it was like, I've said it, but it was just like a passion and just like, I knew what my goal I wanted to be and play at a Division I, high level program. And I would write that every single day to make sure like that's my goal. I'd write in my bathroom. I would just write on a piece of paper, just everywhere. So I knew like that was my end goal of where I wanted to go. And I would, I think I was a person where I learned at like a younger age, being sophomore at 15 years old, to separate myself from just everything, from like friends, and just I knew that if I, put my foot down and this is what I want to do, like I had to make, sacrifices. And I think that was a big thing. What I did when I was younger was I wasn't able to, go hang out with my friends in the weekend because I had to go to tournaments. I had to go to bed early because I had to work out at 5 a.m. I couldn't go to lunch with some friends because I was working out during lunch. And I think, at the end, I always believe like if you put in the work, it'll always pay off. And from the beginning, actually in 8th grade, if we go back, I tore my ACL. And I think that was a big like eye-opening for me. It was whether like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to play again. Like I'm just, it's a big injury. Or I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Like I'm going to high school, and obviously in high school you want to play well and you want to make varsity team. And so I wasn't really sure what was gonna happen. But yeah, I think that was a really big eye-opening. And then freshman year, I was honestly not that good. I think my whole purpose was just to rebound, the whole rebound and just listen and do what the coach says. Yeah. And then I just kind of, like you said, I had a little breakthrough sophomore year, and I just realized like what I can do. And I was just, like I said, I separated myself from a lot of different things.
Yeah. And that was probably, all of the training and stuff. And again, you're so young that it takes a little bit to register. But eventually I'm sure you felt the click, right? I mean, obviously you did. And you were leading that team to, win CIF and then state, which was a big thing. And as a sophomore, so I can't remember, but you ended up going to have some type of scoring record. What was you scored a ton of points, right?
I don't know.
It was like a couple thousand or something.
Yeah, it was a couple thousand. I think I ended up with like the top 3 in the CIF, like of scoring.
She had a bunch of scoring records and things like that. So from high school, obviously, I guess you could point to sophomore year because that's when you had the most success. But was there a specific turning point that you see from when things clicked and you're like, damn, like I could actually do this, like this at the next level?
Yeah, I think, I don't know exactly, but I think there's a part where, you go out there your freshman year, you're like, I was timid. I was afraid of everything, senior. It's just like, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah. It's your first, high school, it's different. So I kind of like first year went through, and then, I think what really just clicked, I just started believing in myself. I had the confidence. I just knew that like the work that I put in, it was going to pay off. And I had the mentality, and, I still do, of like, no one could stop me. And I think I just put that in my head, and I just put my head down and worked. And I just kind of like proved to people like what I can do. And I think a lot of people, you know, can look at everybody different, like, oh, good high schooler, like, you know, they're just, you know, not washed, but you know what I mean? You go and you're like, oh, they're good in high school now, but are they going to do anything, you know, in a couple of years? Yeah. And so, I don't know. I always had the chip on my shoulder, and I think that was something, and I still have the chip on my shoulder. Yeah. But, yeah, I thought that was like kind of just during the season, I was, you know, just putting up against like, you know, our just regular league. But once we started playing against players that were top 5 in CIF, and top 5 players, you know, just national players, I realized like I can compete with them. And that's when I was like, all right, like game on, let's do this. Let's like work hard this summer and let's see what happens.
Yeah. And you're obviously putting in the work and giving yourself confidence and being confident in yourself regardless.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, you know, we've talked about it on episodes before, but there's a lot you can't control with, you know, coaching and different variables about players around you and things like that. But, you know, you just got to put in the work. It's not always glamorous. It's you know, it's a lot of sacrifice.
A lot of sacrifice for sure.
I mean, obviously it paid off in terms of playing college. So tell us about the recruiting process a little bit. What was I know that you were looking at a couple different schools. You ended up at Washington, which is a Pac-12 school, which is an awesome school. Yeah. But walk us through just your recruiting experience a little bit and why you chose Washington.
Yeah, definitely. Well, for, like I said, playing with Team Taurasi, Nike EYBL team, I got a lot of exposure. And also had a lot of players that were getting recruited by Duke, UConn, you know, those top schools at still at the time. But
shout out UConn.
Yeah, shout out to UConn. So I was having, you know, those coaches come to my games, and then there's obviously they wanted to recruit those players too. So there's more Pac-12, you know, top 10 schools coming in. And honestly, I had a lot of mid-major schools. I didn't really have a lot of high, you know, top 10 schools until like the end. And so I just knew that like I wanted to go to Pac-12 school, and that was definitely my goal. And so I just kept working and working. But, you know, you go to all these tournaments, and like I said, there's 30 coaches that are lined up there, and they're just like staring at you from the way you walk in the gym, the way you sit on the bench, your body language, the way you talk to the ref, like every little thing, the way that you drink your water, the way you put your water down. There's so many different things that those college coaches look at. And I knew right away that it was very important, and just outside the court. And then, I just like went on in tournaments after tournaments. And finally I just started to get more, you know, top 10 college coaches started calling my coach and my high school coaches and just people around to ask about me. And then everything just started clicking for me. And I was between Oregon State, Vanderbilt, and Washington. Yep. And those were my top 3. I went on a recruit visit to Vanderbilt. Beautiful school, beautiful campus, everything. Yep. Yeah, awesome program. And then I had a home visit with Washington. And so I just knew instantly, like, that was my school. Yeah. Like, they came and they just, you know, I guess you say they sold me.
It felt like home.
Yeah, it felt like home. Exactly. Yeah. I knew the coaches. You know, as you get recruited to, you talk to coaches all the time. You talk to the assistants. You talk to the head coach, obviously. There's so many people you talk to throughout the whole process. But, yeah, I just fell in love with them. And actually, during that time, one of my teammates on my club team was committed there too, so I knew I wanted to play with her. Ariane McDonald. Yep. She played for UW first year, and then went to University of Arizona. Right. And so I knew that I wanted to play with her. And then there was, you know, another girl from San Diego, Maylani Henson. I knew like friends, you know, people, mutual friends, and I've heard a lot of good things from her at the time and stuff. And now she's one of my best friends. Both of them are. But yeah, so it's just like a recruiting process, and I just fell in love with the whole program, the school, just the environment, and I just felt like family.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so those were the big 3. It was Vanderbilt, Oregon State, Washington. Mm-hmm. So you ended up choosing Washington, and obviously it was a good choice. You had friends going there and different things like that. Tell us a little bit about your transition to, you know, playing big-time D1 college basketball. Obviously, you came in, for those that don't know, she came in behind Kelsey Plum, who's one of the all-time leading scorers, if not the all-time leading scorer in women's Division I history. and obviously is in the WNBA and was the #1 pick and the whole deal. So what was it coming in as a freshman, and you're behind one of the greatest women's players in NCAA history?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, like, she's unbelievable player, outstanding just person in general. But behind her it was amazing just to watch just every, like, you're with them, like, I feel like 24/7
basically
with your teammates all the time.
Basically.
But just to watch, like, the way she just is on the court and the way she trains and the way she does treatment, the way she eats, is just learning those little habits that when I was in high school, like, I didn't really, I don't know, you don't really pay attention to things.
You don't piece it together.
Yeah, you don't piece it together. All the things you know is you just, let's just go, tie your shoes up and let's go get some buckets.
Yeah.
Like, let's go play. Like, eat a sandwich 5 minutes before I go in the court. Like, just so many
not
different
optimal.
things. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But, I've learned so much, and she took me under her wing, and I appreciate it so much from her. Can't, thank her enough. But, yeah, it was just, I was behind, there was like 5 All-Americans.
Yeah, you guys had a lot
and the
of
year
good
before,
players.
they went to the Final Four.
Right.
They almost won
That's
it
right.
all.
That's right.
So I was coming into a program that had, strong history, and I was excited to, be able to play for this program and do everything. So that was like something to look forward to as well. And yeah.
Was it a little intimidating at first when you get there and you're going and you throw yourself into practices and all this?
Yeah,
sort of
it's a different speed. We got to actually so I graduated, and then like a month later I had to go up there for about 2 months, and we did, their summer workouts.
You went for summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
We did summer classes, so I got to be a little ahead of the school life. But basketball, jumping into that it's different.
Yeah.
It's fast. It's these girls are strong.
Yeah.
They will talk to you like you're the freshman, but
you got to earn your place.
Earn your place, exactly. But I loved every second of it. It made me the person I am today, honestly. And yeah, it was for sure timid in the beginning, but as time went on, you just learn. You learn everybody, and you love every single one of them, and your teammates. But yeah, my freshman year was awesome. I didn't play as much.
You played a little bit.
Yeah, I played a little bit. Yeah, I didn't play as much, compared to my last 3 years. But went to Sweet 16.
Yeah.
We've won a couple tournaments, and through like Thanksgiving and stuff like that. We got to go to Australia for an international trip, so that was really awesome. And we just did a lot of different things around. It was just cool to have, like, we had such a good family bond, and I think that was really cool. And to be able to play under Coach Mike Neighbors, which he's at Arkansas now, just a great staff. Yeah. And so I was, coming in, I was really excited, and yeah, it was a great freshman year. Yeah.
So, you took a lot from that freshman year learning behind Kelsey, and then, she leaves, and you get your chance essentially at playing and being a big part of the team. So do you feel that there was some turning point or something for you in college that something was different? Or, obviously you had more of an opportunity in front of you because, she wasn't in front of you. But where things started to click, and then eventually, I can't remember, was it your sophomore or junior year that you had your best year? You were all Pac-12. You had really good year.
Pac-12 all year, sophomore, junior, and senior year. But I think for me, my sophomore year was, no one knew that I was like a dominant scorer.
Right.
And I think I think a lot of people played off of me. And so when I had the chance, I just, pinned it down. And like I said, got buckets on them.
Yeah. So, she was a dominant scorer in high school, but I guess everyone, or the pundits, whatever, the media.
Everybody's all-stars.
Didn't think, yeah, exactly.
Everybody's all-stars.
They didn't think that she would necessarily translate to being able to do that in the college game, because it is a little bit different. But you hit your stride, right?
Yeah.
You started putting up really good numbers in college. So what was that like? You were all Pac-12 your last 3 years essentially. So
I think I knew that we got a new coaching staff too.
And you got a new coach.
Yeah, so that was like a big transition too, just with all of that. But I knew that everybody was gone, all Americans, the seniors, everybody left, and I knew that someone needed to step up, and I think this was my time. I just knew that if there was like, it doesn't matter if I was a sophomore, I knew I needed to be a leader. And that's the type of person I am. And I knew that I could take it over and just show, I guess, the world or, the league of what I can do. And my coach had a lot of trust on me, and, I was able to do what I can do, and I was finally able to show what I can do on the court.
Yep.
And I think, games went on. In the beginning, it's always like, all right, the beginning of the season, let's see what people can do.
Yeah.
And then I just started putting up numbers like just 20, 25, 20. Like, I just kept averaging that. And, in Pac-12, that's a lot. Like, that's
yeah. In college basketball, that's a lot of points.
Yeah. So
what was your highest scoring college game? Do you remember?
I did against number 6 in the nation against Stanford, 40 points.
That was 40. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
40 points.
Yeah, 40 against number 6. That's awesome. Stanford has a great women's basketball program.
Oh yeah, they're
amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
consistently right there, close to UConn. Not quite there, but I'm kidding. Okay, what was your favorite college moment then? Do you have a moment? I know you had a lot of big games down the stretch your senior year where you were kind of getting ready to wrap things up, and you had a bunch of big wins. I know you never really had quite the success you wanted to in terms of wins, losses, and in the NCAA tournament, that type of thing. But any thoughts as to?
Yeah, I think my favorite moment, we're gonna say weekend, was my senior weekend.
Senior weekend,
yeah. We played against USC and UCLA. UCLA was ranked number 8 in the nation. Senior weekend, I have about 40 plus people that are family and friends.
Yep, I'll put the photo up. We had
there
a
we
ton
go.
of people
Yes,
there.
we have a ton of people there. Everybody flew out from everywhere to be there for that weekend, and it was an amazing. I think that just gives me right now. I have chills. It gives me chills just to have that many people support me and just to see the love. And having to be able to win against USC and then beat UCLA on my senior night was just it was unreal.
You won both games. Yeah,
I won both games, and I shot the ball well. We won. Like it was an unreal feeling. Like I wish I could go back to that moment and just replay it over and over and over. Yeah,
because it kind of recaps everything that you've done and put into basketball since you were a kid, and all through high school and to do it in those final games against big competition and the whole deal. And I'll throw up during that some video of we had like a big stands in the crowd of the entire group and everything, and it was crazy. But yeah, I'm sure that touched you a little bit, the whole, and it was a little emotional weekend for you.
Yeah, it was definitely emotional. It was my last game being at, the UW.
Yeah.
And on top of that, winning against, both of those games, and then having all my family and friends there and to be able to play in front of them. There's some people that I wasn't able to play in front of, during the season. I was being the 4 years. They've never seen me play live. And so just to have and just look up, running out of the tunnel, or when I scored, like pointing at them, it's just like, it's such like a hype feeling.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put it in words, honestly.
Well, you think about that, you think you'd like dream and think about like being able to do that, right? And then you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's cool, right? It's hard to replicate, things like that, like moments like that, in general. So you finished your college career and you had a successful one in terms of, personal scoring and things like that. You always knew you wanted to keep going, right? And you wanted to give it a shot. So take us through the next process of playing at the next level. So is there a pro day in women's basketball?
We had the pandemic happen.
Well, right. Okay, so the pandemic happened.
So right after a Pac-12 tournament, we obviously finished Pac-12, the league, and then we had Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas.
Right.
And towards, I guess, the championship game, they canceled it.
That's right. So the tournament was canceled the year that you were going to play. Yeah. So March Madness didn't happen.
March Madness was nothing for us. And they were going through the process of whether they're going to give us a year back. What are they going to do for the spring sports? Right. There were so many things going on where obviously no one knew anything was going to happen. So everybody was just panicking. Obviously, I was upset because we never know what's going to happen in postseason.
Right.
And so as time went on, we're just like waiting, and then they eventually say it's canceled. Everything's canceled, and only spring sports get to have their COVID year back. I wish I could have that. I think I'd still be playing.
The extra year,
I think I'd still be playing.
They have a couple like 6-7 year players.
Yes.
Okay, so you had the complication with COVID, and so it wasn't a normal off season. In terms of when is the draft again?
So the draft was in April, end of April that year, I believe. Okay. Yeah. So I was, I was hoping that I was going to get drafted.
So you were training.
Staying in shape, everything, every single day like that. I was getting ready, talking to my agents, everything for the WNBA. I was hoping that I was going to, hear my name called. Unfortunately, I wasn't, but I was in a lot of contact with a lot of WNBA teams. And so, but the unfortunate part of this, they didn't have training camp. And so that was kind of a way to get my foot in the door that year. And so they only drafted 32 people. And I honestly think only like 7 people made it.
Yeah.
It's a difficult league.
It is different. Yeah. And I know it's slightly different from the NBA draft. There's a little bit less numbers wise.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for the players that did get drafted, she was underrated going into college from high school, even though she showed she could play at a high level, and then in college she showed she could play at a high level, and then you were kind of underrated going to the draft process too, I think. So you never really got a shot even in training camp on the WNBA team.
No, unfortunately not. But I believe my time will come and things will fall together. Yeah. But so and then the draft went on. I signed, agents, and so that now they do the work of overseas. Yeah. And at the time, I had absolutely no clue where I was going. Yeah. They were just, throughout some country, Spain, Italy, France, Australia. Like, there's so many different places to see what team would like me. And so, they gathered the film. They talked to different coaches. It kind of breaks down of whether the coaches likes your game, if they have enough money. There's so many different things that come in line with it. And also, when you go to Europe, you can only have 2 Americans. So either they take usually a guard and a post. Huh. So if you go to some countries, you can only have 1 American.
Who makes the rule?
The FIBA, I guess.
So they make the rules so teams don't load up, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Interesting.
I think comes with like a little money wise too.
Yeah, and money that teams have.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody would load up. I mean, so they can go win the whole thing.
So the people with the most money could just pay for the most talent.
Exactly.
I get it. Okay, so that's what the rule is.
Yep. And then as towards I think around end of July, I got an offer in Italy. I had like other offers, but it was nothing what I really wanted. So I kind of just said no in a nice, respectful way. I signed to play in Italy. And I went to Battipaglia, in Italy. And this was during COVID, so it was different.
Tough.
Yeah,
definitely not the best year to transition into that.
Yeah.
So obviously in women's basketball, it is a lot more normal for professionals to go play overseas half the year and then come back because money-wise and various different reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So usually the league will start for WNBA around beginning of May, and we'll go all the way till, I think, like championship could be end of August. Yeah. And then if you want to go overseas, which is majority of girls go.
Basically at the end of summer.
Yep, end of summer, and then they go all the way till end of April, right when WNBA season starts. It can even overlap.
And so they allow some overlap, and then even the bigger stars go overseas. Yeah. Kelsey was the number 1 overall pick, and I think she went to play overseas.
Yeah,
a bit,
she
right?
went to Turkey.
Turkey or something. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so that kind of sets the stage a little bit. So you're going to play basketball overseas. What was it like? What was the reality of playing basketball overseas? Obviously, it's a different world over there. Yeah. Different country. You don't know anybody really besides your team, which you just met. Yeah.
You pretty much get on a flight. You travel for over 25 hours, most likely. And you get off the plane and someone's picking you up and you have absolutely no clue who it is. Yeah. You may talk to them through like the phone once in a while, but through like WhatsApp texting, but you have no clue who this person is. So, for example, I flew from, LAX all the way to Italy. Obviously, there's a bunch of stops there. But yeah, I walked out the door and it was the manager there and he picked me up and I just went right to, I guess during the time it was like, I think it was nighttime. So I'm in a different country. I have no clue. I'm getting in the car and I'm just looking around. It's like dark. Where am I?
I know.
And I drive like an hour to our like city and I go to an apartment and I'm just sitting there and they're like, well, we have to test you. So you're probably going to have to quarantine for like another 2 days or something. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All I want is just like some food and just be able to sleep. The time change, there's so many different things. And I'm also already hitting like homesick and being like experiencing like being away from my family. And I think obviously at the time it was like very hard for me. And now I'm like, oh, I love going overseas, but it was something so new for me. And
I don't think that, I mean, COVID definitely didn't help that for sure. I mean, they had the quarantine periods and then all the different stuff happening.
Yeah, COVID was, obviously it was very strong over there during those times. And I mean, sometimes you feel like, okay, it's a little breather, and then we would have to like quarantine. And I had got COVID over there twice, and I think my longest was like 23 days in an apartment by myself.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I was running up and down the balcony trying to like work out. Yeah.
Did they bring you food and stuff?
Yeah, they brought me food and stuff, but it was 23 days.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
I think like day 4 I was just going insane.
I would
I was like sick only for a couple days. So like the first couple days I was actually like, okay, I could sleep. But then after that, it was just
they made you do the extended period. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so obviously that's not a normal-ish reality. It shouldn't be a normal reality, but I mean, how did you get into like your playing zone over there with all this stuff going on? I mean, you went to practice. I mean, but it's a different scene. Everyone's from different places, and it's not like your normal like college team where everyone's on the same page. People speak different languages. I mean, how do you get yourself going for the way you play, like with all that different stuff going on?
Yeah, it's different. I think Italy also has a different, the playing style. It's different than college basketball or playing in the U.S. Yeah. They call it differently, the referees. So that was just like a little thing like footwork. Like if you rip and go, like they'll call it a travel over there, but in the U.S. they wouldn't.
Interesting.
So it's like you kind of have to learn that. Yeah. But then just the culture and just the language, language barrier is it's different. But a lot of girls over there actually can speak English, which is really cool. Right. And to, just to be around that. Everybody's very just a family. Yeah. They'll take you to your home. They'll cook a lot of food, pasta, pizza, everything. They'll take you out. So that was really like welcoming for me. Yeah. And then I just, you meet your teammates as well. And I had one of my teammates played for UCLA, Paulina Hersler. Right. So I became best friends with her. I think that was her 3rd year overseas. So she kind of knew the run of everything. So she, like I said, she took me under her wing, which was really nice, kind of like showed me the ropes of everything. And then we had another American, Danielle McRae. She was older. So she's been playing, I think it was like 10 years overseas. So she knew everything too. So, eventually you start making your connections and your friends and you start getting a routine. And I think always like in the beginning, it's the hardest because you are in a way like thrown into something and you don't know what to expect. And you try to learn, how the coaches teach you and just the style of play. And there's so many different things and just kind of trying to make it a home, like your second home. And I think it took a while. Yeah. Obviously, like I said, COVID year was really difficult. Yeah. I think it was more of a mental challenge for me. A lot of time being by yourself. And I think you think a lot and you want to do a lot of things. And I mean, I think we'll talk about what I came up with. Yeah. But it's a lot of time and you really focus on yourself. And I think that was really important where I knew like I started just learning more and just kind of growing. I felt like as time was going on, I was growing and growing as a person. Yeah. And you learn a lot about yourself, obviously. And you really learn to not worry about things you can't control, right? I mean, it's just so far out of your hands, especially in a different country, all of these different things going on. And I mean, you can think about it. You can stay up all night for weeks and months on end. And I mean, it's not going to do anything. So
not worrying about what you can't control is just all you can really do. With game schedules, games getting canceled, whatever, you get quarantined.
Schedules left and right, quarantine. They would say, like, for obviously going home for Christmas was a huge thing. And I'm always, in college, we got to be home for Christmas for a couple days. Right. And so that was my first year being not home for Christmas. And that was obviously hard during the holidays. Yeah. But there was times where, like, okay, you're going to be able to go home. And then, like, 10 hours later, no, you can't. Yeah. And so it was a lot of, like, back and forth. The whole world was pandemic, so no one knew what was going to happen. Yeah. And so there's all these different flights happening. They're saying there's a COVID-free, during the time, quarantine flight, like all these different things.
Yeah, well, even here, there was a lot of up and down going on. But in another country, it's completely different.
Yeah.
So were you able to... We'll get into this last year next, but were you able to that first year get into a rhythm playing at all?
Yeah, it was difficult. Yeah. I rolled my ankle pretty bad. I got hurt. So that was in October. So I was out for a month and a half. Right. And that was that was a lot for me. Yeah. And then I was able to start playing again, but it's just hard to get back in the rhythm. You're playing one game and then you're sitting out for 2 weeks because you have to COVID
quarantine.
Yeah, games are getting canceled, so you really don't know. It was a really rough year. So there's a lot of up and downs. There's a lot of good things. I saw a lot of cool things.
Yeah, you saw cool things. A lot of learning moments, and you learned a lot about yourself. The whole deal. So last season, and you just got back from last season in
Spain.
Yeah, but you just got back. When did you get back? May?
End of April.
Yeah. Okay, end of April. So pretty recent. So how was your second year compared to your first year? I think you were able to get into more of a rhythm and playing games and things like that. It wasn't as up in the air. What was the differences from your second year to your first?
Well, I played in Spain. So again, it's totally different. The leagues from Italy to Spain are totally different. Yep. Spain had a lot of the American playing style, which again I loved.
Which was good.
Which was really good for me. Yeah. And I wasn't just I think I had just a really the group of girls I was with. And I think, obviously, like I said, you really spend 24/7 with them. You go to practice, you eat lunch with them, you hang out with them after, you do family. Treatment. Yeah, exactly. It's like family. So I think that was a really huge thing for me because when I was around good people, that lifted my spirits and, made me, enjoy everything. And I just, after my Italy, having it being hard for me, I kind of just gathered my my thoughts and just everything and regrouped that summer, and I went in there knowing that I want to be able to perform well and I want to be able to show Europe basketball and just the world of what I can do. It kind of goes back to college of my sophomore year, stepping in there and be able to show what I'm capable of doing. And I think I went back in there and just enjoyed it. I had fun. I think that's the most important thing. Is a lot of people say, "Oh, have fun," but it really is. It's have fun and enjoy it. Laugh, smile,
and that's when you play your best, right? Yeah, because when you're having fun doing it, and it's not like things are mechanical, and so you got back to having fun and being yourself, kind of this past year playing.
Yeah, just enjoying the moments and just obviously there's gonna be hard days. Yeah. There's a lot of hard days out there, trust me. But I was in a growing, and I'm still growing, of just learning and controlling what I can control, honestly. Right. And I think one of the main things that I did this year was reading and listening to podcasts. Yeah. I love listening to Jay Shetty podcasts and just different other people, reading different books, just being able to just listen to what people are saying. And I think I started doing meditating. Mm-hmm. Meditating is a huge factor in my life now. And at the time, a couple years ago, I didn't really understand it. I was like, oh, people meditate. But now it's just something huge for me. And it just kind of brought me in a calm, peace matter. And I got to really focus on myself and do what I wanted to do. And I knew that if I believe in myself, then I can, accomplish anything.
Yeah. And the messages that you hear and you put around yourself, whether it's your friends, family, podcasts, different things, if you keep hearing it over and over again, you're gonna act and think a similar way. And, if you're doing that in a positive mindset, I mean, Jay Shetty's, and I'm sure everybody on the internet's heard of Jay Shetty. He has some amazing stuff. There's tons of great stuff there. So if you surround yourself with that, along with your good circle of family and friend group talking to you, then that's definitely a positive influence. So that's great that was a step up at least, right? I think it's interesting because I think women's basketball, there's a couple different sports that you transition to internationally, I guess, after college. Men's basketball too, if you don't make, the NBA, that's also an option, right?
Yeah, or they have the G League.
Overseas. Or G League is kind of a little bit, because there's no G League basically for WNBA, right?
Not right now, but they did actually just start in Las Vegas. Aurora Sports, I believe. Am I saying that right? They have another league. Okay. And there's only 44 players. And so it's like a 5-week league pretty much.
So,
and,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But
so they're starting to
expanding
add more stuff.
I heard they're going to expand the league, WNBA, which is cool. They're making 2 more teams, I believe. So
is the so where are you at with stuff? I know you got back a month or two ago. Is that new thing in Vegas? Are you have you been trying to do that?
Well, actually, I haven't even told anybody. I really haven't really told anybody, but now it's not officially on the internet, social media yet.
You don't have to say it.
No, it's fine. Okay. I already signed everything.
Okay.
I'll be playing in France.
Oh, France. Okay.
Yes,
Wow.
So,
surprise announcement. Let's go.
There we go. Yeah. So I'll be playing in France next year. Haven't posted on my social media, so not really many people know, but it's out in the world.
Where in France?
Chardonnay.
Chardonnay.
Yeah.
That's like the wine.
Yeah, like Chardonnay, like the wine. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I will be playing there, and I will be leaving end of August. Okay. It's France, different country. I haven't played there.
Yeah.
I'll actually be playing against my old teammate Melanie Henson.
Oh, she's gonna. So, that's right. She was playing in France before,
right?
So
I'll be playing against her, which is really cool. And I'm just excited. Yeah. I visit France the last 2 years, actually visiting Melanie. Yeah. And I'm super excited. I'll be like an hour 30-minute fast train ride to Paris, so can't complain on that.
That's cool.
I think there's gonna be a lot of good things and good opportunities out there, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, no, that's exciting.
Yeah, drop the mic.
Yeah. Glad we're able to announce that. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so France. Yeah, I love France. I've been to all 3 countries. They're very unique. I've never been to Chardonnay, but Paris. It's close. The countryside in France is beautiful.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's like another kind of fresh opportunity. I know you kind of get to reset a little bit each year because you really don't know, everything's up in the air.
Yeah.
Right? So that's great. I'm sure you're excited about that. Going over there. And
I'm really excited. I think it's, like I said, it's another opportunity for me to show what I can do, and my end goal is to make it WNBA. I have the chip on my shoulder, and I'm kind of the underdog. I like being the underdog. Yeah. It's good.
I like it too.
Yeah. So I'm just working every single day. I, just trying to get myself better. And I think, physically and mentally. I think mentally is, like I said, a huge thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I would say the overseas thing definitely grows your mental game a lot.
Yeah.
Right? It really puts you against yourself, and so it really, really puts that at the forefront. And then, it's just like training by yourself,
there's times where, in college, if you have a bad game, you can go shoot with the coach. You can have that, like, a mentor talk to you face to face. But overseas is you have your phone and you can talk to them on the phone. But at the same time, it's like you always want that, like, one-on-one. It's like you have to figure out, like, what you did wrong, and you have to learn by yourself with watching film, because in college you watch film with your coaches, you do different things, you have your trainers, they'll work with you one-on-one. Obviously our coaches can work out with us over there, but it's totally different. It's the different atmosphere, and in a good way, but it's a lot of yourself, and you got to learn how to get yourself better in so many different ways.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a human connection to things. I mean, so when you want to, lean on somebody when it's a bad time, but having to do that yourself accelerates you understanding how to do things in the world, right? And it's the real world, and understanding that. So, I mean, it's gonna happen. Like you're gonna get there to the WNBA. I know it's like it's an arbitrary goal. I know, and it's like, I mean, that's just like, I guess, the highest level that you can go. Yeah. I guess that's why. I mean, that's always a goal, right? Yeah. Because it's the highest level. But, and then once you get there, then it's like, okay, what now, right? Yeah. I mean, you're on your way.
Yeah, I'm just working. I believe that everything happens for a reason. Yeah. And, my time will come.
Yeah. And it's about the process, and you really, it really doesn't even matter at the end of the day if you make it to the WNBA or not. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because once you love the process, and I talked about this with my former tight end teammate Tommy on the last podcast. You have to be process driven. Like otherwise, you will not put in the work necessary to get to where you want to go. Exactly. Yeah. So it is. Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Yeah. It's huge. And I know that's why, I mean, you love the game. So like you do it for yourself, right? And when it happens, it's going to be amazing, right? But I mean, you can only control what you can control. Exactly. So I mean, and timing wise, everything will piece together. Yeah. Exactly. So, exactly. Yeah. Well, exciting. So we're going to move on to the next big questions, I like to call it. Toughest part of your journey through basketball. So this is from, pre-high school, high school, going through to college, and now to the pros. What's kind of been the toughest part for you to push through throughout the process?
I think the toughest part was the transition from college basketball to overseas. Yeah. Yeah. Just being different country, being away from your family, not having somebody that in the stands, familiar face, watch your games, outside of practice, like you don't know anybody, and as time goes on, you obviously meet people and you become close, and having a 9-hour time change, going through, I guess, just life things of the pandemic. I think that was just a huge eye-opening, and just that was the hardest thing for me. But at the end of the day, like I look back at it, and it's like I've grown so much from it. Right. And without some difficult experiences that I went through, like honestly, some people say I will never experience things that I went through, just like with what was happening and just with like the world, and not being able to play basketball, and being and COVID, and the quarantine, and like all the different things that I went through. But like I said, it's a lot of learning experience, and I think that just the transition. Yeah. But it's just, if you love the game, you gotta go through it. Everybody goes through it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta experience the lows on the way to the highs, right? Exactly. And you gotta try to stay as neutral as you can, right? Don't get too high, don't get too low, the whole thing. And I know you do a good job of that. Everyone has their days, but okay, good question. And I think going to college is like that on a mini scale. So it kind of prepares 100%. You a little bit. So you go, at least, I mean, you at least kind of knew the coaching staff like a little bit, and then you went for summer, so you were able to like work your way into it. Yeah. So, as an example, like when I went to college, I went to two. Before I went to UConn, I went to a college in Brooklyn, didn't know anybody there, never visited the school. Yeah. You're just like jumping off a cliff, right? Yeah. And you have no idea what's going to be at the bottom. Yeah. Will there be a pool? Hopefully, or like a trampoline or something. Yeah, exactly. Or you have to build a plane on the way down. Yeah. But and then I went to UConn, didn't know anybody, never been there before. And then you go, and then you throw yourself into the college sports and the high level that it is, and your eyes wide open, and there's so many amazing, like so much talent around you, and so much that you have to keep up with, right?
Yeah, you gotta keep up with.
So you got to push yourself, by doing. You just throw yourself in the fire, and you just learn along the way, basically.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like, you said it. I mean, it also comes with like, you have your sport, but then also you have your school, and you got to learn timing. Time management is a huge one, because you have practice for 3 hours, then you have a film for an hour, then you have, or 2 hours maybe, then you have treatment, and then you have, one-on-one sessions, and then you have tutoring, then you have your homework, and then you got to study it. You got to eat, like you have to nap, you have to do all these things. And when it all happens at one time, when you walk in on the college campus, you're like, okay, well, you're going to be doing this and this and that. And you're like, so where do I even start?
So basically college sports is basically, it's like a huge schedule, and you got to go to all the things on it. But, and then, in contrast to that, in the real world, you'd need to do most of those things anyways, but there's no schedule. Like, aside from your practice, right? It's like the rest of the time.
And overseas. So, for example, in Spain, I'll give you my daily.
Walk us through a day.
Here's a day. We have 2 practices. So we either have practice around 11:30. We start officially, but we have to be there around 11. I would always get there around 10:30 to do like extra work before we do our warm-ups. Mm-hmm. Practice started from 11:30. We usually don't finish till 1:30, and then after you want to stretch, do some treatment, it's already 2:30. Could be 2:45, and then I go home. I eat, and then I'll take a nap all the way from about like 3 to 4:30, and then I gotta get up for practice, which is at 6:30 again that night. So we have double practices, and then we'll go from 6:30 to about 9 maybe. And then the time that you do stretching, all that again, treatment, you got to go home and eat, and it's already 11:30, and then you repeat it again. But there's a lot of sleeping and a lot of downtime. I think when you're overseas, I realized the first year you have a lot of time. You're like, you kind of get bored. At some point, you're just like, okay, I feel like I have so much time, like I'm wasting. What do I want to do? Like, you're like, okay, well, I am doing what I want to do. I'm playing basketball, but then you have like, a couple hours where you're just like, so what can I do to, start something up? And
exactly. How you want to set up your life, essentially.
Exactly.
Because understanding that's, time for you, and that's time for your life and what you want to do with it. And so it is a little bit more structured overseas, because you're in this like kind of with your teammates in one location, and you're not like at home or in your own.
I mean, everybody kind of has their own apartment. Either you live with your teammates or you don't. But you're really on your own. Like the coaches are just, you're professionals.
Okay.
Eat what you want. I guess. However what you want to eat is what you're filling your body with. It's what you want to drink is what you're filling your body with again. It's just so many different things.
Yeah. So it's so real life. It's basically that's it, right? Yeah. I mean, so you can do what you want. You can do what you were doing before, but that's up to you, right?
Yeah.
And so depending on where you want to go and what you want to achieve, right? Your actions, if they map to that, then you'll get there eventually, right?
Exactly.
So that's cool. Next question. Family influence on your success. I know your family has always been a big part of your life. You grew up around sports, in general. Mm-hmm. I know your dad coached football for a long time. Mm-hmm. Jaime Melgoza, great guy, and he's a great coach. So you grew up around just sports in general, and them teaching you the work ethic and the whole thing. So how do you think they influenced your success in terms of growing up and then being able to get to where you were at?
Yeah, well, first shout out to my parents. Unbelievable people.
They're awesome people.
Yes. Without them, I would not be where I am. They've done so much for me, and I cannot put in words of how much I appreciate them. And I love you, Mom and Dad. But yeah, my dad coached at Summer High School for 30 plus years. Yep. And when I was 4 years old, I was a ball girl. And so I was always around that competitive atmosphere. And just, around a lot of athletes. And so I knew that I was just always a competitor, whether it was just being on the sideline of a high school football game and trying to throw the ball farther than the guy or the girl next to me, just to prove that you want to compete with me? I'll compete right there with you. But my dad has always, been the person just to always push me. And when I was younger, he was always hard on me, and I just was like, Dad, like, why do you have to be so hard on me sometimes? But now it makes all sense. Like, I appreciate it so much. Like, he would make sure that I would get up in the morning and get those extra shots. Like, he would make sure that I put up 300 more shots that day. Then whether I went to practice, you still got to put 300 more shots. Made me, he taught me how to like eat right and just like treat my body. And he was always willing to, and like helping me to get better. And like same with my mom. My mom was always there to support me 100%. Just always gave me that like confidence, and just knew that like you can take down anybody. And I think kind of to go back in my life, when I was a little girl, I had dyslexia. I still have it, and like ADHD. And I think that was a huge role for me when I was little, because it was really hard for me to learn. And a lot of people, in a way, I think, looked down on me and didn't believe I could get where I am today. And like I said, that's like where my chip on my shoulder comes from. And ever since I was like a little girl, my mom always was like, you know what? Like, not like screw other people, but like believe in yourself. Like, you have confidence. Like, if you want to do something, like, you can do it. Like, don't listen to anybody else.
Absolutely.
And I think obviously when I was little, it was really hard for me and I didn't really understand it. So, and then time went on and I got older and I started like, it was just hard for me to learn in different atmosphere and different things. And so my mom always, just like, you can do anything you want to do and just always believe in yourself. And like, I appreciate that so much, so much. And I mean, I can't thank them enough. Like, it's crazy. I really can't. They came out to Spain and they were there for, about 10 days, and they were every single game with me. Obviously, they saw every single game, but it was so cool to see them there. And like, when I saw them, I was like just tearing up because I didn't see them for a couple months, and I'm just obviously being overseas and not seeing your family. And then finally that you look over and you're like, oh my God, they're there. Yeah. Like, I was just like, I had chills. I was just like, this can't be real. They actually here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was really cool.
And yeah, so they taught you the formula to success in life and at an early age, which is
yeah. Don't give up.
Follow your passions and yeah, don't give up regardless.
Don't give up.
Yeah. And tune out the noise, all the positive noise and all the negative noise, like, just don't let it affect your focus.
Exactly.
You in one ear, out the other.
Like, the big word, and I think, in my family, is believe.
Yeah.
Like, if you believe in yourself, like, you can do anything. I know, like, that word can be thrown around everywhere, but, like, my dad really, and, like, me, like, everybody in my family is, like, believe that you can do it. Like,
and then do it.
Yeah, then do it. Exactly. Yeah. And
basically.
Also, like, my sister Candace and my brother Zach, Buddy, as we call him, like, they've always been there for me, supporting me every single way. Yeah. Buddy got the chance to come out and see me too. That was really cool. That was a really special moment as well. And yeah, both of them just been there for me since day one. And I just talk to them every single day overseas. And I think like having to be able to them literally communicate and like be able to have FaceTime is just like such a huge thing for me. Oh, yeah. And yeah, they've always been there for me. And yeah, they always just give me that like my parents, like, just don't give up. Like, just keep believing yourself. And yeah.
Totally. Yeah. No. So I mean, they're awesome people. If you know Jaime and Robin, obviously you know what I'm talking about. And Candace and Zach. I mean, you're surrounded by a great core group, right? So, I mean, it's really propelled you to where you're at today. So it's awesome to look back and see that too. Cool. All right. So last question. I ask everybody this. Our last question before Q&A. What does being a good teammate mean to you? It has a lot of meanings to a lot of different people. So,
okay, that's a great question.
I know, teammates podcast. I have to ask.
Being a good teammate. I think it's, for me, is like asking people off the court if they're okay. I think that's a huge thing. I think always, you have your teammates and it's always something like on the court, like, let's always talk about basketball. Let's talk about, the referee or how the practice was, how the game, how the coaches are, all this stuff. But I think being a good teammate is always asking outside of basketball is like, are you okay? Like, how are you doing? Like, ask about the personal life. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, caring about them as a human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of being a basketball player. Yeah. I think that's a huge thing. And simple as that. Yeah. I think I learned that as overseas especially is you see them at practice and I always have a smile, yeah. But some people have hard days and just having that that conversation outside of practice and just saying, how are you? Like, you want to get some coffee? You want to go get some lunch and just having a normal conversation without basketball. And I mean, yeah, it's your teammate, but then also it could be, your friend too as well.
Yeah. And you never know what's going on any given day in anybody's life. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really tough. Even your close friends, you don't know everything that's going on. Right. So,
yeah, like today I saw an Instagram post and it was, actually before I came here, and it was like, stop scrolling and looking at your friends and just ask if they're okay. Like just check on them and say hi, see how they're doing. I think that's a really important. And I think you learn, I don't know, social media is also just a huge thing, obviously too. Yeah. But I mean, you can show one picture, but and I think just, if I could say is one thing, check on your friends, see how they're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's really important in life. Yeah. People you haven't talked to, say hi. They probably want to reach out to you, but sometimes people don't, or I don't know if they're afraid or they're shy or whether or not. But yeah, go talk to them, say hi. Talk to people. You never know if you're, someone was telling a story about someone. It was on Instagram, and they were saying how they sat next to somebody, and they were just asked, say, hey, how are you doing? And little do they know that person was a CEO of something huge, and you meet so many different people around this world.
Yeah, no, it's definitely about the people you meet along the way, right? Exactly. And that's how your life kind of forms, right? And the important meetings and the important people that you meet, will ride with you along the way on some of the way. I heard an analogy recently that was really good. It's like an elevator. Some people you'll meet them early on the early floors, but then, they'll get off because when their life takes a different path, or they're going to high school, they're going to college, whatever it is. But then, I mean, you never know down the road, you get to floor, 27, when you're 27, and then you rekindle with this you talk to this person again, and then, something amazing happens. So exactly. So you never know. Yeah. You always gotta be nice to everybody and, be kind and understanding and care for people, have empathy for people. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I completely agree. So, I mean, that's a great answer. Great. So last segment, Q&A. So we'll go down the list. Okay. Favorite sport and why? Non-basketball.
Football.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, and apparently you were pretty good.
Some flag football,
flag football players. We'll toss a photo. Yeah. I know. She was crushing the boys back in the day.
Yeah, Via Valley Elementary School.
Okay, favorite player growing up that made you want to play basketball? Could be anybody.
Kiani Albanez, local star, Santa Barbara. She was my role model. And then, Kobe Bryant. Yeah. Hands down. Yeah. Favorite person.
Yeah. Love him too.
Yes.
I remember when you were playing USC that weekend, and it was the day Kobe passed away. That was nuts. That was so we were all driving down to LA to go see Amber play at USC, which was on the day Kobe passed. Mm-hmm. And we drove past the helicopters and such going on in Calabasas, and we had no idea what was going on. And then we were waiting in the restaurant with all the families, and someone said it, and
I was in the middle of my warm up. I think we were gonna tip off, and we had a good 20 minutes of things, but I was like, all right, let's go. We're playing USC. Yeah. I'm playing in LA in front of all my friends and everything and family, and someone came by and was like, Kobe died. Kobe died. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, you don't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what? And I was like, what do you, what? And I was doing layups, and it was just I don't know, someone kept saying it. I'm like, what? And then it just got quiet in this gym, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, somber. And then there was a moment of silence, and but it was nuts. Yeah, it was
prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he was a transcendent player in the game, and I mean, really just embodied a lot of that hard work and perseverance and such, at the highest level.
Yeah.
The Mamba mentality.
The Mamba mentality.
I loved Kobe growing up too. So that's he was a great role model. Okay. Favorite place or arena you played in? It could be in college, could be in the pros.
I think my favorite place, Oregon's a pretty
Oregon.
cool. Yeah.
So it was University of Oregon?
Yeah. University of Oregon's pretty good atmosphere.
Okay. That's with you were playing against Sabrina,
Yeah,
right? Sabrina Ionescu.
Mm-hmm. Let me think what else. UCLA is really cool.
UCLA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's all Pac-12 schools
Yeah.
are amazing. But yeah, UCLA,
Oregon,
UCLA is a very nice gym. Very nice gym.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some great fans for sure. Okay, next. Favorite TV show or movie that you've watched recently?
Ooh. Oh, I watched Girls Trip last night. That is hilarious. Girls Trip.
What is that?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's like
It's a TV show?
No, it's a movie. Girls Trip, yes.
Is it new?
No, it's been out probably for a couple years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Girls
I watched
Trip.
actually last night. TV shows, I don't know. I think when I'm home, I really don't watch TV shows. It's kind of more like when I'm away, when I have like the downtime.
Yeah. Did you watch the new Stranger Things?
No, I'm not really into that. I love Yellowstone.
Oh, Yellowstone. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget who else said that, but Yellowstone. Yeah, one of my buddies was watching.
Yeah, Yellowstone's really good.
Okay, cool. No, that's a good answer. I have not personally watched Girls Trip. Did you see Top Gun?
Yes.
Oh my, unbelievable!
Yes,
right?
really good.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seems like every guy has a mustache now. And Nick, where's yours?
I can't grow a mustache. It doesn't work for me. I gotta shave because I cannot grow a mustache. Okay, so last question. What's next for Amber? So Amber just recently started a clothing line, right?
Yep.
So it's called AM Apparel.
Camera?
So yeah,
Can you see
check
it?
out that. Yeah. Show your hat, and then we got this hat right here too. I'm wearing the shirt.
Yep.
AM. So tell us a little bit about the clothing line and what spurred you to start it.
Yeah, so this is my new clothing line, the AM Apparel. And this started in Italy, actually, a couple years ago now. Like I said, a lot of downtime. And I just kind of started brainstorming. I was just like, what is another way where I can show something that I love to do, playing the sport of basketball, but then also being able to have a little bit, it's almost like a little bit of home and being overseas. So just a little bit of everything. And I just started brainstorming different things of what I can do. I was talking to one of my friends, Jason Williams, that helped me out a lot with all of this. And he just kept saying, Amber, let's do something with it. Let's think of a logo. Let's just, go forward with it. And I just kind of was like, okay, yeah. And then finally, kind of this summer, I started really just pushing forward. And I was like, you know what? This is my logo. I want it to be AM, Amber Melgoza.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want it to kind of be simple right now. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to show just, I don't know, kind of represent me in a way. And this is kind of, as you can see, they have the white, we also have black, and then there's a darker gray, and we have this trucker hat, and we have that hat, the dad hats. So we have a lot of different things, and we have a lot more coming out, which is really cool. We have crew necks out right now. Eventually we'll have, woman tees, tank tops, sweatshirts, sweat shorts. So we're coming out with more different things, more different designs, but it's just another passion and just an outlet that can be creative.
Yeah, and building something that represents you, and you'll build it out and establish yourself with it, and it's awesome. So everybody listening or watching, we'll put the link in the bio or wherever you're watching, the description.
Instagram, AM for apparel.
We'll put it. We'll put it on the screen. We'll put it in the description so you can all click and check it out. It's exciting. It's always exciting to launch a new venture.
It's fun. It's a lot of work though. Kind of. I was kind of like, all right, okay.
There's a lot of different
learning.
pieces.
Yeah, it's really cool. Just to kind of see how everything goes down. Before I launched it, I was going down downtown LA to get t-shirts and kind of just seeing the whole downtown LA scene and the whole the factories and stuff was really, really cool. And it's kind of learning about that. Yeah, just learning the social media platforms and all of that. There's so many different things to go with it, but it's fun. It's, it's a different outlet instead of, playing, doing the sport I love, obviously, but then focusing on something else as well.
Yeah, because just taking that same mindset and be able to translate it to something else that, in life that you're doing. Since you do have, your life that you do have to live outside basketball a little bit sometimes. So that's exciting. So if you're watching, listening, go check it out. That's awesome. I will definitely be wearing this. I personally love dad hats and trucker hats.
Yes.
So they're very stylish. All right. Well, anything else that you want to plug? Your Instagram is
Amber Melgoza 4.
Right. Yeah.
Follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. That's kind of your main plug.
Yeah,
right?
I was trying to think what else. Oh, I guess I could say this too. I got Athletic Roundtable Hall of Fame.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No way. That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you. So I think I'm of 2022 of Hall of Fame.
When did they announce it?
Yes. I haven't really. It's out. I can tell people. But they have this ceremony October, but I won't be here.
Oh, I see.
So October 16th, I think.
Or maybe your family will go for you.
Yeah. Or I might record myself doing a little video.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome.
So yeah, that was really cool.
That's
kind of a really cool achievement, honestly. Something cool. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Roundtable Hall of Fame. So for those listening, not in Santa Barbara, Santa Barbara Athletic Roundtable is like the local kind of sports stars. They give out like athletes of the week and athletes of the year, different things like that, different awards. So she's getting inducted to their Hall of Fame, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So clearly a legendary local athlete. Awesome. Well, and now you're going to go to France.
Yep.
And that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
And we'll follow along the journey, and hopefully we can check in with you at some point down the road.
Yeah, definitely.
And awesome.
Thank you, Nick, for having me on here. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This was fun. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you next time. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 6 of the Teammates podcast, brought to you by Lenk Media. Amber is an awesome person. Hopefully you guys all got something from that. So many unique perspectives of going to play overseas and how it works and all the adversity that you have to fight through and the time alone and the getting put in a new country, work ethic and why it's so important growing up into being passionate about something and giving it your all and sacrifice and just so many different things. And she's been an amazing friend of mine for many, many years since, the high school days. And I'm glad we were able to hear from her and her perspective. It was great to hear from a women's basketball player, and hopefully we can have many more women on who I haven't been teammates of, but that we can get their perspectives and thoughts and everything, because I think it's just as important as teammates that I've personally had. So I appreciate you guys for listening to the end of the episode. Thank you guys. For the episode guest announcement, make sure to tune in to our Instagram and follow. It's at Teammates Podcast. Also find us on TikTok, teammates.podcast. So thank you guys for listening. We will see you in the next episode.